Hey everyone, so here on the screen I have pulled up the parable of the 10 virgins, where what I want to point out is that the relationship of oil in this parable to brightening lamps concerns flame of fire. Those who didn't take the oil or don't have oil cannot flame up their lamp, which then results in the not being prepared to come into the wedding feasts here in verse 10. So no oil, no flame of fire, no coming into the wedding feast. They had lamps, they just didn't have oil. Where if we come to Luke chapter 12, Jesus is instructing, let your loins be as ones having been girded about, and your lamps to be made burning, which the oil gives the ability for the lamp to be made burning, so there's a flame of fire. This is the concept that Jesus is giving to us according to lamps in oil and burning lamps. So the relationship here of having your lamp to be made burning has the direct relationship to oil and flame that is made burning, where we see the wedding is mentioned right here. And then what also then has to be paid attention to is that here we see knocking in relationship to doors, where again, those here in the parable of the 10 virgins who enter the wedding, the door is shut. So knocking and doors and wedding all has a direct relationship to the lamp in the oil in the coming into the wedding or not. Because what this reveals here, according to the instruction, well, those who are not having their lamps to be made burning and their loins girded about with the truth will not come into the wedding feasts according to the orders of the watch times. Where here Jesus names the second and the third, where the first has disappeared because the first watch time are those who came into the wedding here. Obviously, the wedding's in progress if they're going away out of the wedding feasts, because they had their lamps to be made burning first. Where the second watch time order here actually is midnight, according to the parable of the doorseer in Mark 13:35. So eventide is the first watch time, where then midnight is actually the parable of the 10 virgins again. Matthew 25:6. According to the middle of the night. The word at here is just added. It's in conjunction with. This parable is in conjunction with midnight, where when the door is shut, those prepared who had their lamps to be made burning here and coming into the wedding feasts are those according to the second watch time here. Where those according to the first watch time disappeared, coming to the wedding feast first, because they had their lamps to be made burning even before the virgins come into the wedding here. And the first to have their lamps to be made burning is the uplight of the fire down here. So again, oil and lamps has to do with flame of fire. When Jesus says, I came to cast fire on the earthland, and what do I want if it were already uplight? Well, the uplight of the fire is the first making of the angels here who come into the wedding here first. Which now takes us to more discussion concerning oil and flames of fire. When the Father leads the Son into the dwellage, Hebrews 1:6, we see the making of the angels as officiating spirits in the figure of flames of fire, which reveals to us that when we come into the wedding feasts, we're made officiating spirits as angels. Where again, the uplight of the fire down here is the first making of the angels in the flame of fire. Uplight or kindling, it's the striking of the match. It's the first uplight according to the disappeared first watch time here in relationship to the statement of having your loins girded with the truth and your lamps to be made burning, according to the wedding feasts, where again, the parable of the 10 virgins is in conjunction with the second order here. Midnight door, where when that door is shut down here, Matthew 25:10, those who had prepared and adorned their lamps with oil, they had the oil, they had them to be made burning, come into the wedding, according to midnight, second watch time. But there's still the first watch time that we have to consider. Disappeared in Luke 12:38, which is eventide here, when the Lord of the house comes, which the first uplight of the fire are those who have their lamps to be made burning first, who come in first here. Where if not first, then second is the parable of the 10 virgins, those prepared who have the oil and their lamps to be made burning come into the wedding at midnight, where the foolish are locked out at midnight, which is the third watch time here, sign given Peter.